Good evening, Cancer. So this is your 2020 forecast, and once again, it's for the sign of Cancer. So I'm going to be doing the reading for you with this Lenormand deck, and then also clarifying with this tarot deck, and then I'm going to give you a final piece of advice with this oracle deck and this dice. I'll explain that later, but let's get started with your 2020 forecast with the Lenormand deck. So while I'm shuffling, I'm just going to be explaining to you a little bit about Lenormand. So I believe it actually originated in France during Napoleonic times. Correct me if I'm wrong. And it's pretty popular in Europe, not as much in the US, I don't think. But yeah, okay, so let's get straight to it. So what do we have for Cancer in the year of 2020? What do we have for Cancer in the year of 2020? Let us know what is in store for Cancer in the year of 2020. All right, let's get started. So I'm gonna lay out all the cards, and then I'm not gonna show each one individually, but I'll show you the ones that pop out according to my intuition. And then once again, clarify on that, and then get to the final piece of advice at the end of the reading. So I'm just gonna lay out 3 rows here. This is just the way I like to do it. It's not the traditional way, obviously, but I just go with my intuition. I like to think outside the box a little bit. Okay, so let's see. So in the beginning of the year, I see that actually, maybe even starting with the end of 2019, I feel like you guys, Cancer, crabs, you're going to, you're kind of going through a process at the end of 2019 where you're opening up, like unlocking like a part of yourself. I think you are maybe unlocking like a part of yourself that's more lucrative, that's more maybe financially minded, and that's going to pan out for you in the beginning of the year in a successful way. But I see here that there is going to be some kind, so after that like financial sort of like form of success, and there is going to be a promise here or some kind of like agreement or deal making process represented by this ring here. And that's gonna take quite a while actually, whatever that process is regarding that deal that we have here. It's gonna be kind of a long process. I see here there's gonna be an obstacle, so represented by the whip, and then the mountain. It is going to be a repetitive sort of like long process, long ordeal that is going to lead to an obstacle in the first part of the year, the very first part of the year. And then it's going to lead to some, I see here like communication maybe with others. This card could also represent a bit of gossip, but I think really it's just a card embodying communication from you to others or from others to yourself, whichever resonates. You are gonna have a need in the middle of the year for some spiritual cleansing, represented by this lamp here, this traditional lamp. This is a sign that you are gonna need some spiritual cleansing activity. You can, I mean, if you want to be superstitious about it, excuse me, you can burn some sage. You can sprinkle some salt in your entryways if you want to be really kind of wacky, or eccentric. You can do whatever, but I think in the end it just comes to like emotional clarity and then coming to terms with what's going on with that communication in the middle of the year with others. So I see here that you're going to go through some phases, Cancer, kind of a survivalist mentality after the cleansing of maybe a little bit of negativity. I don't really know exactly what the deal that you're going to, I mean, because the year, for, once again, the year in the beginning starts out positive, and then after that deal, whatever it is, promise or deal or some sort of agreement, that's going to take a while. I see that leading to, there's going to be a lot of people involved. Maybe, I think this is what it's saying. There's going to be too many people involved in the middle of the year with the wrapping up of that process. And you're gonna need to cleanse that out of your system, out of your environment. You're gonna go through like a survivalist mentality, but I see here that once you kind of get over the hump, it's a good card. So once you get over the hump, I see good. I'm getting positive energy here. I mean, this can mean a lot of things, a multitude of things, but for me, I'm getting that it's saying that you should maybe be clever. So if you're in survivalist mode, you're in kind of like slow moving, low energy mode, like the bear card that I have here for the animal, the bear. Tap into that like clever part of you. I know that as a Cancer, you are a water sign, so you're naturally very intuitive. Tap into that like clever part of yourself that is a little stealthy, maybe a little bit strategic, a little bit kind of under the radar, like a fox. Tap into that, and that's going to lead to something very positive, as represented by this garden card, prosperity. Ultimate prosperity, as long as you tap into there's nothing wrong with this like slow moving, like steady, sort of like survivalist, straightforward mode, but there is a time when you need to go from the bear, like the slow moving crab, that kind of moves slowly, treads slowly along the beach, to this sort of like stealthy, sort of like fast moving fox. So move smart but fast, from moving slow and kind of like low energy mode, as represented by the bear. And you will be prosperous as long as you keep that in mind in the middle of the year. And then after that prosperity, you're going to be launching something new, starting something new, a new endeavor of some kind. And that's a positive thing. But going back to that kind of like a little bit of negative energy here. So this card traditionally represents the other woman, or maybe like somebody who's envious, like another woman or a man who's envious, and kind of wants to like take her partner or something. But with this reading, because it is a general reading, I'm just gonna say that it give a more neutral meaning to it intuitively, and say that this is just like negative people who are maybe jealous, or who may be kind of like after what you have for whatever reason. So just be wary of that, and you gotta shake off those haters. And remember your loyal friends. So we have the dog here, man's best friend. So just keep in mind your loyal friends, regardless of the haters. Make sure that you pay attention to them, pay attention to what they're saying, and then be supportive of them, and have them maybe reach out for help, or have them support you as well, as needed, as loyal friends do. And then here we have, once again, going back to the snake, and then I think this may be something, it's related to that process in the early of the year that might have taken a while. Maybe this is revisiting that. It's like a cyclical process, probably. It could be like some karmic energy here, with maybe like someone that keeps coming into your life that may be a little bit draining, maybe demanding a lot, or I'm getting maybe even a little bit like a draining, like an energy vampire of some sorts. It's like a cyclical process, and you're having to deal with it like earlier in the year. It's being revisited with like early in the year with this whip. I'm seeing like repetitive, like cyclical, like karmic energy that's leading to obstacles. But here, okay, so this mice card represents like somebody trying to steal something of yours. Just maybe it could be like an ex-husband, ex-wife, ex-partner, or maybe even just like an friend or ex like acquaintance of yours that may just be jealous of what you have. And you know what, just that happens sometimes when when positive things are happening to you, like the prosperity and the new things launching in your life. You're gonna have people who doubt you sometimes, but you gotta shake that off. Shake the haters off. And so here we have the dog. Once again, I just want to remind you to stay mindful of your loyal friends, and be loyal to them, and be supportive of them, and vice versa. Reach out for help with you to those who are loyal to you, like your family, your friends, like your true friends. Don't forget that they're there for support. But it looks like the end of the year is ending pretty positively. It's going to end in a very dreamy state. So I intuitively think that you're going to probably most likely get through that ordeal with that cyclical karmic kind of like energy vampire I'm getting, or some sort of entity in your life that keeps kind of popping up throughout the year. You may have to deal with that, but it's ending on a positive note because look at it, it's stars, dreamy, there's an ocean, and then you have like this dreamy night sky. So the end of the year is going to end with positivity, with some, I'm getting like maybe resolution, just like a peaceful sort of resolution with like a peaceful night sky, above a beach, above the ocean. I mean, that clearly, I think, resolution at the end of 2020. So that's great. So I just want to like take a moment to take these tarot cards, like I mentioned earlier, to clarify for you, Cancerians. Cancerians. I don't really know how to pronounce it, but for you, maybe some crab people out there. I'm gonna clarify for you. I would think, yeah, that sort of like, I don't really want to tap into that, like, what is that, like, karmic, almost like draining energy vampire, sort of like cyclical energy that keeps coming, that keeps popping back in your life periodically. I want to clarify, I want to know what that is, and I want to try to give you some insight into that, like how to deal with that, because that sounds very tiring. Okay, we had some cards pop out here. Yeah, okay, so we have the Tower, and then we have the Nine of Rods. So I'm just gonna look up the exact meaning for this exact deck, what the Nine of Rods means, because I don't quite remember what it means within the context of this deck right now. So let me just look it up right now, because I want to make sure I give you the most accurate reading. Okay, so here it is. Nine of Rods. Okay, so already wounded, a worried man braces for the next salvo. This is the eye of the storm. The situation will worsen before it improves, but you are prepared. So that pretty much goes with the rest of the reading in terms of, yeah, you're going to be dealing with this sort of cyclical energy. So what I can get here from this energy vampire with this Tower card right here is that you are going to be dealing with something that you can't really avoid with this person. Like I said, if it's like I mentioned earlier, I was getting this intuitive energy that was like karmic energy. It means it's kind of like from your, I don't want to say like past life necessarily, but it's, yeah, it is this karmic energy that you're having to deal with repeatedly, maybe throughout your past life, throughout multiple lives. Like you're just having to deal with this person, but there's really nothing you can do except for just like deal with it in a mature way, kind of like waiting for a storm to pass, but make sure that you're wise about it, and then you take all the precautions that you need to, whatever that may be. And this card also is telling you to be prepared. Like it said in the book, this person has already been through many battles, and then they're having to go through another one, but they're prepared this time. And I'm guessing, I think intuitively that you are a very prepared person because you've already been through this before. Whatever it may be with this karmic energy vampire of sorts, you've been there, done that, and you know how to deal with it. So that's great. I mean, you know how to deal with it, you know how to weather it. And then earlier, I mean, we had this prosperity card. Once you once again tap into your fox energy, so you need to transition from the bear. So we have the bear card here. So you need to transition from this bear, this sort of like steadfast survivalist, low energy, slow moving person, to this fox. So you need to be like smart, almost kind of like clever, maybe like try something that you haven't before with this person, this karmic energy, because I'm really getting here, Cancer, that you are gonna be fine as long as you can like actively or proactively deal with this karmic connection that keeps kind of periodically coming back into your life. But be a fox is what it's saying. Go from the bear to the fox. Be stealthy. I'm not saying be tricky, but maybe try something new. Be a little clever. Maybe reach out to other people that you haven't reached out to before. Like try to get some new advice, like a fresh perspective, and that will lead to, once again, the garden, which is ultimate prosperity. So that's a positive thing, but you do have to tap into that fox energy. It's like quick, clever, sly. If you haven't been doing that, I know with Cancer, I mean, they tend to be like a little bit slow moving, treading along, like slow moving, like sideways, like a crab, and it's a little slow. That, you know, tap into like using those pinchers maybe that you haven't used. I'm not saying like take any kind of like physical force or anything like aggressive or violent or anything. I'm definitely not telling you to do that, but go into that like more like fox energy, like under the radar, sneaky. You know, like use those brain, like those pinchers, mental pinchers, in your head to be a little bit smarter, more clever, and more strategic about it, about this karmic energy. And once again, stay loyal to your friends. Reach out to them, your loyal friends and family, the ones that you know that truly love you and are loyal to you. Reach out to them, because at the end of the 2020, it looks like this issue is going to be resolved, as shown once again with the stars above the ocean in the night sky. Very beautiful. Okay, so last but not least, I'm going to try to get like a final piece of advice for you. Okay, so what final piece of advice do we have for Cancer for 2020? How to deal probably with this like karmic vampiric energy that I'm getting. Okay, so we have 12, which is actually like the biggest number here, but I think the number 12 is probably gonna be significant in some way, but I'm gonna actually pick out, like shuffle and then pick out the 12th card. So what energy, what advice do we have for the for Cancer, the Cancerians, and how to deal with that toxic vampiric sort of karmic energy? What advice do you have? Okay, so I'm just gonna lay out the cards and then pick out the 12th card. My intuition is telling me to start from here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, okay, so we have regeneration. So I know with you guys, with Cancerians or crabs, you don't really like, you're kind of slow moving, you're kind of like within your little shell. When you come across conflict, you like to hide in your shell. But this is saying to regenerate, like once again with that fox card. I know that Cancerians, you have that bear, like slow moving, kind of like slow changing, sort of like one note in terms of like, maybe your way of thinking can be a little bit like little, you know, stuck in your ways, like Cancers can be. But make sure to tap into that fox energy once again to regenerate. Try something new. That's what regeneration is all about, is trying something new that you haven't. You know, maybe try to tap into like if you are a Cancer sun sign, maybe look into your moon sign, tap into that energy. You know, tap in, like, maybe like look at your natal chart, birth chart. I mean, they're birth chart calculators, and then tap into maybe non-Cancerian energies that you may have, but it is a little more in tune with this fox, like sly, like sneaky energy. So that is all the advice I have for Cancer going into 2020. That's the 2020 forecast. So like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you later. Hope this was helpful.